From the bicameral fissure at the center of your brain to the living, pulsing heart of our universe, your frequency is ascending. Revolution-radio.com, revolutiontalkradio.com, revolutionradio.tv, freedomslips.com on a banana peel, and revolutionradio.rocks from the A-team at Studio A, from the big boss man of over 77 amazingly intelligent, erudite, locucious, and sagacious hosts. Proud to present Strange Universe Radio. The pinnacle of 16.4 billion years of evolution. The Scott Farkas of Internet Radio. With your host, the man so nice they named him thrice. Oh... the man who just loves you all unconditionally, no matter what you do, no matter how obnoxious and belligerent you are. But I just have to say, spare the rod, spoil the child. The man whose hands are like rich Corinthian leather, which means my entire body is kind of like a sofa. Anyway, it is I, the Sean David Morton. We've got all kinds of fun stuff to get to today for you. It's good to talk to you. Good to have you here. How is everybody? You guys okay? Did you have a nice weekend? I had an awesome weekend. I have great weekends. Been good fun. Been a good summer. Been all kinds of good fun. We went to the let me see. We did all kinds of fun things. Let me see. Friday. What do we do Friday? I told you Friday we went to the D23 Expo. They've announced. You guys have heard all this, but we were there for it. Harrison Ford was there. All the cast of Star Wars, the old and new cast. Everybody was there from Star Wars. And, of course, they announced that it was on the front page, a blazing headline in the Orange County Register. It took up the entire front page, Star Wars Land. So they are building Star Wars Land. Now, since Disneyland went up between 1954 and the opening on July 17th of 1955, Disneyland, I believe, took a grand total of like 366 days. They built it in a year. So when they're talking about Star Wars Land, Walt Disney the Disney Corporation has bought a ton of space around Disneyland. A lot of it's just parking lots and dirt. But there are people claiming that they're also going to buy Angel Stadium as well, because the Angels, their lease runs out this year. And they may just tear down Angel Stadium and put like a giant water park there. But the question is, they're just moving a bunch of stuff around. They've got stuff for storage and maintenance and whatever else, and they're moving all that stuff off the property. So they, I believe, are going to put Star Wars Land on something like 15 acres, I believe, right on the other side of Toontown. So you can actually access it through Toontown. There's only going to be two rides. One ride is going to be the Millennium Falcon, where you apparently have a ride where you can actually land the Millennium Falcon. But there's going to be, the rest of it's like shops. It's basically just a village, if you will. But the Millennium Falcon ride is supposed to be cool. I do not know what the other ride is. I know there's one other ride that's going to be in there. But the centerpiece of this whole thing is going to be an actual life-size, walk-around inside of it mock-up of the Millennium Falcon. Which J.J. Abrams actually made a comment about how, quote, Disney nailed it, really, because when you think of Star Wars, and you think of the one really iconic thing in Star Wars, I would think it would be, well, not so much the first, obviously not the first three movies, but you think of the Millennium Falcon really as being the most iconic thing, I think, in the series. There's really nothing iconic in the first, episode 1, 2, and 3. I can't say the first three movies because they were obviously made afterwards, but 1, 2, and 3, what's the thread? Like Jar Jar? Misa messed up this movie so bad, people don't go and see ça. So, which is weird.
George Lucas had to open his mouth over the weekend and stuff.
This ought to be good.
And I guess he was trying to save himself. And he said, like, well, Jar Jar was actually based on Goofy.
Okay, I get it. He is, obviously, but poorly.
Dude, I wouldn't give him that much credit.
Okay, so, it's so funny because they had no idea that when they were shooting the movie, the actor who was playing him was actually, pretty genius. Everybody was laughing. The whole crew thought he was fun and cute. Who would know that he would be like the hated character in the franchise? So it's it was too over the top for kids, I guess. But anyway, Star Wars Land is coming. They're going to build one, I guess, over at Walt Disney World as well. Walt Disney World, they've got all the space in the world. They have an entire state to just build whatever they want. It's a little more dense over at Disneyland in Anaheim, but it's a great thing. Harrison Ford was there. Everybody was there. Oh God. But the D23 convention, again, it's Comic-Con it's in a much smaller space, actually, really, than Comic-Con, because they have a section of the Anaheim Convention Center. But if anything Disney teaches you, whether or not it's iconic stuff, when you think of the iconic aspects of movies of Peter Pan with Tinkerbell putting on the chief's feathers, or Lady and the Tramp eating spaghetti, or whatever it is, the one thing Disney teaches you how to do from the time you're a little kid in Los Angeles is how to wait in a line. Unfortunately, just bring a deck of cards or a game or something. Because the Expo, you had to wait in a line, to wait in another line, to get a voucher, to then get a chit, to then get a ticket, to then wait in another line. I mean, it's just line after line after line. It was horrible. It was just bad. Johnny Depp got the Legends Award. He was there. Harrison Ford got a Legend. They all got Legends Award for whatever else. But they just announced a bunch of new stuff. The biggest thing being, obviously, Star Wars Land is a massive new addition. And they've got to do something with Tomorrowland, because Tomorrowland is complete crap. There is nothing about tomorrow in Tomorrowland. I mean, nothing. You've got the Autotopia cars, which should be over in Cars Land, over in California Adventure. They still run on gas. They still smell like the freeway, because you'll choke to death standing in line in the Autotopia. It's just got to be somewhere else. They're talking about getting rid of the submarines, because the submarines are the most expensive attraction in the park. And they only, apparently in order to operate them, you only get about 800 people an hour, I guess, through the submarines. And we were at a whole conversation with a guy who was a Disneyland submarine commander. I'm not kidding. It was a guy that actually drives the submarines, telling about how they were talking about getting rid of it and doing something else. But again, there's nothing tomorrow. There's Space Mountain, which I suppose that's the only thing that you can see that's tomorrow-y about it. There's the Tomorrowland Terrace, which comes up out of the ground, and they do Star Wars stuff and whatever else. But they have Astro Blasters, I think, which is like a toy game, but that's Toy Story. That's not the future. I mean, you used to learn stuff in Disneyland. They used to have a guy with a jetpack who used to fly in, and people dressed like spacemen. You used to be able to take a trip first it was a trip to the moon, and then it was a trip to Mars, which at least was kind of educational, but they ditched that. So now what do you have? You have a Star Wars ride, which isn't tomorrow. It's in a galaxy. It's actually long ago and far away. So it's not even our future. It's somebody else's past. Although the Star Wars ride is super cool. And the Star Tours ride, amazingly cool. Great fun. You've got 56 different combinations on it. And Astro Blasters. And then the Autotopia, which is from 1955. And then the submarines, which I don't know how that's the future, but it's just, anyway. And now they've got the entire Innoventions, which was the Carousel of Progress. And then they put a bunch of Marvel stuff in there. And it's closed. And they were talking about, there were rumors a year ago that they were going to tear that down and turn it into a Death Star, which would a whole ride of the Death Star, which would be so apropos for the Disney Corporation, I might add. Anyway, so went to the D23 thing on Friday. Obviously, we transmitted from there, so you got to hear a lot about what was happening there. And then Saturday, and then Sunday we just kind of relaxed, and then we went to the last day of the Orange County Fair. And Melissa had never seen one of these before, but we used to have them all the time. I've told you my stepdad had a farm. We actually had two full-on working ranches, and we had one that was like 650 acres in an amazing area of Grass Valley. If anybody is familiar with Grass Valley, it's in Nevada County. We were next door neighbors with Chuck Yeager, which I thought was fun because he was an old-time friend from the past. And and on the other side of the hill, there was a yoga farm that I actually lived on for a summer. Yeah, me on a yoga farm. I was very stretchy, and it was fun. I got with all the fun yoga girls. They were great. I was worshipped like a god, like the Buddha. And but we had pigs, we had horses, we had the whole thing, and then we had another fully working cattle ranch over in Marysville, where we had we had a bunch of cows, a couple hundred head of cows. The only reason I mentioned this is because why did I mention this? I totally got off of my track. Man, I got to get some Ginkgo biloba or something. My brain, I'm just tired. But okay. So I used to do horse racing, and not like little jockey guy horse racing, but I'm talking rodeo. And I was good. I mean, I was really good. We had a lot of horses. Dad actually spent some money on some good horses. And I was 2 years in a row when I was 14 and 15. I was what was called the Jim Tana barrel racing champion for Nevada County. Jim Tana is barrel racing. Girls are better at it than guys are. Girls have that, they got the hips and the butt, and so it gives them the lower center of gravity, and they're lighter on the horse. So they used to beat all our times. But so we'd go to the rodeos all the time. And as I said, I did the Jim Tana, which was the barrel racing. But at the rodeos, at the end of the big fairs, we would have a demolition derby almost every year at the Nevada County Fair. And they were amazing because we had this big track. The bad part about the ones we had in Nevada County when I was a kid was that the arena for it was too big. It was like a big rodeo arena. If you've ever seen the rodeo arena, and whether you know this or not, the number one sport in America, you would think would be NFL football for attendance, mind you. It's not. Baseball, no, it's not. Basketball, no, it's not. Number one sport in America, spectator sport in America, rodeo. You know what number two is? I should have Steve guess this. Steve, you even know what number two, the number two biggest spectator sport in America? He doesn't know. Well, he's got his mute button on, in all fairness, so I ask him questions, and I never know he's there. It's actually number two, I think, is auto racing. Car races, auto races. We're talking about, NASCAR, Indy 500, and all the auto races put together. So last night was the last night of the fair in Orange County. Now, Orange County is a great place to go to a fair because you're behind the orange curtain. I hate to say this, but it's basically white people and white and yellow people mostly. A lot of Chinese, Vietnamese, all kind of moved down there. Am still good? I hear bloopity sounds. All right, we're still up. Every time I hear a weird bloopy sound, I worry about something. And stand by 1 second, Hawk. Just one moment. So anyway, we went to the Orange County Fair, and you go to the LA County Fair because the LA County Fair is like in Pomona, and you'll get shot. That's the bottom line. You get shot at the Orange County Fair because it's basically all East LA, and it's the ballers and the gangbangers and the Chicanos, the La Raza guys that all show up with their cars. And a guy was walking by. It was funny because there was two really burly guys with the long beards and the whole thing. That was so cute because they had their daughters with them. And they're like, I love the Orange County Fair. I went to the LA Fair, but I'd go to the LA Fair, but I don't want to get shot. These two really big burly dudes. So we sat through, not sit through, but it was not just a demolition derby with 8 cars and a figure 8. But then they did a motorhome demolition derby with 5 motorhomes. And it was a very small dressage ring, basically. So it was really cool at the fact that these things could not get away from each other. I mean, it was just epic. And Melissa, I don't think had ever seen one before. And she was just screaming her head off. It was so great because there's this black van, this big black motorhome with a big Raider thing on it, was going after this big red one that had a big Confederate flag on it. And he tore out the back of this guy's motorhome, and the whole thing was nothing but like a cab, and the whole rest of it just dragging along. And it became this epic, monstrous, Godzilla versus Muto sort of thing at the end. And everybody's up on their feet and screaming and yelling. So anyway, it was the demo derby there, and it was good fun. Meanwhile, speaking of parties, we got Nighthawk. Hey, Nighthawk, are you there? Can you hear us? Hello.
Having issues.
Okay. Do you want to come back when you solve them, or?
Yeah, I'll come back when I solve them.
Okay. Thank you. All right, there it is. So that's him. So anyway, it was last night. Went to the demo derby and with the motorhome demo derby, and we actually had a friend. We had a friend who lives in a motorhome, Dr. Susan Shumsky, who was putting together our big tour. We've actually got a tour that leaves from Florida, from Fort Lauderdale, that goes down to Roatan and Belize, and does the Caribbean. And then we've got another tour coming up called the Conspiracy Cruise, which is going to be January 24th of next year, where we've got some of the biggest and hottest and most controversial speakers on all kinds of topics, from big pharma to vaccines to assassinations to whatever else. It's all hunky dory. So we're going to be there putting all those together. All right, got a couple of things to play for you. I don't know if we can get this in. Just 2 things that are kind of fun. Let me see what's going on. What's been happening? Is just people getting cut off, or people not? All right, some mysterious technical issue has been. Okay, so here's an announcement for you. I will be going to Hawkfest. I'm going to be at Hawkfest. So all you folks that want to meet me, want to punch me, want to shoot me, want to throw me in jail, whatever it is you want to do, want to serve me with papers, I don't know. I'll be there to take you on by dash narbit gummit. But here's the challenge. The challenge is that I'm going to be there early. So I'm probably going to come in like Wednesday and help Hawk set everything up because I wanted to go spend time with Hawk and his family and the gang there. So I'm probably coming in Wednesday. I'll be there Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and then most of the day Saturday. But then I have to leave Saturday afternoon to come back to Los Angeles if it's even going to be possible. So because I have some commitments and all that. So it's just things I have to do. It's stuff my wife insists that I do. And but it's pretty cool because I can leave about 4:00 in the afternoon or so on Saturday. And if I can get out to the airport, I'm not sure how far he is from the airport, but then I pick up 3 hours when I actually come in, or 2 hours anyway, when I come into Los Angeles. So I will be there, but I think only until Saturday. So where was I with this? Okay. Now I just had something very funny. I'm not sure what we can play behind this, but we need some kind of music for it. But it's This was I'm going to read it out. I'm not going to do anything behind it, or unless we have any music. I'm trying to think of Royal Scots Dragoons or something kind of funny.
What's the subject?
The subject is somebody sent me an interesting picture that has Hillary Clinton, but dressed up like the Queen of England. In other words, she's got the hair, she's got the crown. It's basically, it's the Queen of England. It's Queen Victoria, Queen Elizabeth, with Hillary Clinton's face. And she's got a big thing across her chest that says USA, and it's a message from Hillary Clinton. So I'm trying to think of what we should play as like bed music behind it.
I've seen the picture.
I'm sorry?
I've seen the picture. I don't know the story.
Okay. So I'll just read it because it's funny. As you know, my dear people, the last year for me has been annus horribilis. The royal house of Clinton has been tormented by questions about our handling of finances and subjected to tiresome questions about the tragic events in Benghazi, in the furthest regions of our empire, and sadly also questions about my royal emails. Nevertheless, I will not be daunted by my desire and commitment to serve you, the people. For the next 17 months, I will be traveling among you, as one of you, to listen to your deepest longings and needs. I will be with you in your Walmarts and beside you in your Burger Kings. I will drive with you down the busy interstate highways of our land, sharing your poverty and needs with you. Oh, how well I remember the days when the Duke of Arkansas and I were impoverished. After we were expelled from our Washington palace, we hardly had 2 mansions to rub together. We were so poor we had to remove thousands of dollars of china, flatware, carpets, and gifts from the Washington palace just to survive, only to be forced to return much of the treasure by Washington. Now, happily, benefactors from around our empire have given just enough for us to scrape by. During those difficult times, we had to cut back when our daughter was married. We only had $3 million to spend on her wedding. And I remember our hopes as she moved into her $10 million Manhattan apartment mansion after marrying a wealthy Jewish financier, and George Soros putting up the money for most of it. That one day, very good, that one day she would be able to move on from that humble abode to something more fitting. After working for MSNBC for a starting salary of a mere $600,000 a year, what could she do? So as I travel across our land to meet you all, I will be listening and sharing with you. Then when the time for the royal election comes, I know you will crown me your rightful monarch so that I can continue the King Obama policies and we can all live happily ever after. Blessings, Queen Hillary Rodham Clinton. Thank you. Thank you. Mwah, mwah, mwah. Oh, my dear subjects, thank you. And music up with a swell. That means turn it up. We'll start it over. I don't know. right, so I think we have time to do this now. Okay, so now I've got a clip of Ronald Reagan warning us all about Barack Obama. It's kind of a debate between Ronald Reagan. If you could pull the clip up, I think we got just enough time to do it here on the way out.
We're ready to go. I don't think so though, because it takes 4 minutes.
Yeah, we've got 5, don't we?
It's 6:25 now. The break's going to cut in about 2 minutes.
In 2 minutes. Oh, okay. All right. Well, never mind. So we'll play this. We'll play this actually after the break. So that's so we get that one. Okay. A couple of announcements. I don't know if Hawk was going to come back with his announcement for Hawkfest, but I have to a couple of things for you. If for those of you, okay, number one big announcement. I am so sorry that we have been short on books. However, we now have Book 2 is back in stock. Book 2. Every time we print these, we print hundreds of them at a time. They sell out on Amazon. They sell out on our website. So those of you, sands of time. We now have Volume 1, if you haven't gotten in on it yet. Volume 2, for those of you that ordered Volume 1, Volume 2 is out. And we just went and picked it up from the publisher today. So all of you that ordered Volume 2 or are expecting Volume 2, it will be back up on Amazon. We would appreciate it if you would actually buy them through strangeuniverseradio.com, because that is, obviously we don't have to pay a big fee to Amazon. So strangeuniverseradio.com, Book 2 is here. And I can tell you that Book 3 is maybe a week away from being finished. So that is all I can tell you. But I've finished Section 1, Section 2. I went to Vegas for a few days. Obviously, I transmitted from Vegas out there. I just needed time. So I just went out there with a couple of buddies of mine. I kind of slept on the couch and went to this Toastmasters conference for 2 days, which God bless Toastmasters. It's all good. I don't need to listen to a lot of other people talking to a lot of other people who can't speak, who want to learn how, I guess. But they have like world championships in Toastmasters. I mean, the one of the big guys in Toastmasters was like a Saudi sheik, this guy. So, which was a very strange thing to do, to watch this guy, watch the Saudi sheik, basically kind of rat packing it around with these Jubilee showgirls. And, so anyways, it was fun. Judy Carter, an old friend of mine who used to teach stand-up comedy. She's one of the big speakers now because she helps people. She used to go from stand-up comedy to now helping people learn how to talk. But while I was there, I just did nothing but kind of sit in a corner of this guy's house. And, no cats, no distractions, no radio, no Melissa, no gymnasium, no nothing. And just got cleared away and everything done. So, I'm almost there. I just need, I might just need some help from a couple of friends, some donations to actually reach in to get enough books published. Or I might just release it and say, hey, there's Sands of Time Part 3 is out. It's actually the working title right now is Part 3 of the Tempest Fugit Chronicles is the Isomer Protocol, because there's a treaty that we were forced to sign with an alien race or species, which was called the Isomer Treaty, which basically limits us to this planet, considering humanity with our language, our thought patterns, our politics, our economics, a deadly virus to the rest of the universe. But it's all good. So this is Sean David Morton. We've got Ronald Reagan. Just another Manic Monday. That's the Bangles. We're doing kind of a tribute to girl bands of the 80s. Today on Strange Universal, we got the Bangles, we've got Go-Go's, we've got Joan Jett, we just have girly girl music. We're also going to do horoscopes as well. So that's coming up in the next hour, and all kinds of fun things. Hawk, are you with us?
Yeah, I'm finally here. Oh, yay! My God, I'm finally...
Ta-da. The Skype gods have smiled. What do you have to say, oh big giant head of all ruler of the universe?
Oh, well, I hear you're coming.
Oh, yes. Yeah, no, I'm going to be there. I'm trying to work it out now. But as I said, I'm going to come early to help you set up. So I'm just, like I said, put a hammer in my hand, son, and I'll help you build anything you need to build. So I'm probably going to come Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. But I may have to leave actually Saturday afternoon. But isn't that the big, you've got some Black Sabbath thing going on or some?
The big event is Saturday, actually.
So you're telling me I'm going to completely miss the virgin sacrifice is what you're saying if I leave Saturday afternoon.
Just virgin sacrifice. Actually, I was going to put you on stage just a little bit before Terry Joyce to do your own thing, and that's Saturday afternoon. Everything happens You're in.
I'm not sure I have a thing, but what thing can I do?
You always got a thing. You always got a thing. You just kind of all you got to do is walk around and you got a thing, right?
There I go. I'll try to do that thing, that voodoo that you do so well. So I'm going to come, but I'm coming early. So as I said, I'll try. I'll see what I can do, but I may have to leave that afternoon to fly back. I pick up 2 hours, I think, when I come back to Los Angeles. So, but I do have a function that I have to be at like Saturday night here. But let me see what I can do. I may work something out. It's I've got to get it past.
The Black Sabbath tribute is a little bit before dark, Saturday afternoon. Then we got the open stage. Terry Joyce is doing her comedy bit, and then we got an open stage, and we got some DJ stuff going on.
Right.
Which I kind of assumed you were going to pick up the DJ stuff.
I could do that. I was DJing for years and years, so I could.
I know you can do that.
Okay. So that'd be fun. So yeah, I can get up there and play a lot of. What do you guys listen to out there? Leonard Skinner, Kid Rock, Travis Tritt. What do you guys listen to?
Oh wow, you made it a supposition. We all listen to heavy metal out here.
Oh, okay, all right. I'm not quite sure. I would think with as big as this thing is, and you're in Kentucky, that there was some way that you could probably get. I thought for sure you were going to invite Rand Paul or Mitch McConnell, the turtle himself. I thought you'd actually get some heavy hitters out there in Kentucky.
That I know likes Mitch McConnell.
No, nobody I know either, but I'm just saying that he is your senator there, and if he actually did show up, I'm just thinking this is a huge deal, and you're such big supporters of Rand Paul. I know we tried to invite his father, Ron Paul, on the conspiracy cruise, and Ron Paul wanted basically a flat $100,000 for him to show up anywhere.
Well, everybody wants a whole bunch of money to do everything, right?
Yeah. Anyway, I'm just thinking that he's still your senator, and you are his people, and I thought that you promoted Rand so much that he would probably. Have you invited him? Has anybody called his office to say would you like to appear?
I don't know. I don't support anybody.
Okay. All right. Look, I'm just saying you're in Kentucky and you've got some pretty heavy hitters and some national people in Kentucky, and I'm just saying that
most of the people that we have in politics in Kentucky are all traitors anyway. Probably need to be shot up against a solid wall somewhere near the Lincoln Memorial. But anyway.
Right.
Whatever.
Well, I would definitely put that nom de guerre on Mitch McConnell, but I don't think I'd put it on Rand. I think Rand's a pretty good guy.
Actually, Mitch McConnell needs to be lined up on that wall just along with everybody else. Rand Paul, maybe Rand Paul. I don't know. I've listened to some of his speeches, and I kind of go, is he giving a speech, or is he actually talking the truth? That's the thing we always have to try to sort out, which when it comes to a politician, they're lying on one side and lying on the other side, and everything else about what they're doing is lying anyway.
All right. Well, I'm sorry to get you off on this. The positive aspect is tell us all the cool stuff that's going on at Hawkfest.
Anyway, so we're going to have people coming in from all over the world, actually, even from England.
Wow.
The great England is coming in. I think we got one person coming in from Germany. I think we have a couple of people coming in from Australia. Uh-huh. And to say that's a lot of money to be trucking your ass in here. And I know we have a lot of people from the United States. So hundreds of people coming in from the United States. I think we'll probably have 100 to 150 coming in. Plus, I have a lot of local people coming in just to see the Black Sabbath show.
Okay.
Just to see crazy old, as my niece puts it, crazy Uncle Mike doing his Aussie thing. So anyway. So we'll see how that goes. But, I would hope you would be able to stay here longer than Saturday afternoon, because actually the main event is the Black Sabbath tribute, in which I have my band coming in from Florida. After 25 years, they're all coming up to do this show. And we're going to have to actually do this with no rehearsal. So it should be interesting after 25.
Oh, Black Sabbath has all the 3 chords they play, right? Right.
Oh, okay. Anyway.
Will there be girls there that are worth looking at in Daisy Dukes? That's all I want to know. Are there going to be Daisy Duke girls there?
That's exactly what my friend said.
Listen, my daughter has something to say. Hold on.
Okay.
What, Real?
I said that's exactly what my friend said when I told them that to come to my dad's party.
What did they say?
To come or was there going to be girls in shorts or?
Yeah,
that's what they said.
Yeah, we're all the bitches in shorts. Okay,
well,
so there you go.
Is your daughter going to bring all her friends? I hope from her college or school or wherever she goes to school.
Ariel says she doesn't make friends with girls.
Oh, okay. She's wow. All right. Well, Ariel, I look forward to meeting you.
Well, look, man. I don't know if I can show up now. Is going to be a complete sausage fest. I mean, like I'm single, so
that's what it sounds like. It sounds like there's going to be a lot of worms in this apple. Is all I'm saying.
Yeah, exactly. It's just like, come on, all the single ladies.
I went down to the store the other day to pick up some nuts and bolts to put together because me and David David was building picnic tables. These enormous 12-foot picnic tables for Hawkfest. and I went down there, and there's all these women going, I hear you're, like, having some kind of thing. Can we come? And I'm like, I don't know.
Yeah, that's exactly what you said. You went, I don't know, or no, right? No.
Yeah,
or
yeah,
I don't know.
Yeah,
Thanks.
there you go. So,
thanks for that, Hawk. Thank you so much for being so female friendly. All right, anything else you got here? Because I got to get on with the show here. I got to actually impart some learning and some information here.
There you go. The one information I need to make is the sound man's going to cost me way more than I initially had already planned. I had already paid a sound man, which I'm trying to get my money back from this guy. We had a $250 sound man. Now I have a $400 sound man bringing the festival set out, and I need to cover these expenses. So again, donations. Need some help covering all these expenses. It's getting crazy, but it's the only way I could get this done, and it cost me $400 to get the right sound man to come in here and do this whole thing. And Steve, are you coming? Or not?
Yeah, I'm going to be there with Constance.
All right, there you go. All right, peace out, guys. Get out of here.
All right, buddy. Thank you so much. Okay, now somebody sent me some very funny Hillary Clinton cartoons. For example, there is Hillary Clinton it looks like a giant kind of monolithic statue of Mao, and propping her up, actually she's holding a flag with a Hillary symbol on it, and looking very much like Iwo Jima are the guys from CNN, ABC, NBC, CBS, and they're propping her up on this carpet underneath which is the carpet is trying to cover up all the stuff where foreign donations, Benghazi, 30,000 lost emails. Let me see what else she's got into there. It's the Russian uranium deal, Vince Foster, the Clinton Foundation, Libya, Whitewater, bimbo eruptions, Travelgate, Clintongate, cattle futures, all this. I mean, just the skeletons in her closet, the people that she's allegedly killed, the scandals that she's been involved in. The next cartoon is she's being carried in a litter, if you will, with a bag of money with blood dropping out of it by 4 Muslim women. And she's got a big sign that says Human Rights Campaign, and they're on a road with a sign on it that says White House. And of course, there's blood dripping out of the bags of money, and the blood spells out on the road human rights abuses. The next one's kind of fun because she's dressed up in the same waitress outfit as the 2 actresses on Two Broke Girls, and she says it's tough getting by on only $200,000 per speech, and she's got a thing that says one broke girl, and that actually that comes out of Mad Magazine. When did Mad Magazine get all political? Next one's a funny cartoon because it's got It's got Bill Cosby. It's got Bill Clinton on the phone to Bill Cosby, who's in the next panel, making a sad face, where Clinton's going, "I feel your pain," to Bill Cosby. The next one's kind of fun because it's Hillary in a dungeon, and she's got 3 women all tied up, hanging from the ceiling. And it's Kay Wiley, it's Juanita Broderick, and Paula Jones. And Hillary's standing there with a whip because these are three of the women that she just excoriated and smeared and slandered and libeled, because all of them had been, in essence, hit on and or flat out raped in the Juanita Broderick aspect by her husband. And a guy in another suit opens the door and said, "Mrs. Clinton, they're ready for your war on women speech," with her saying, "Oh, it's just so terrible how abused women are." Of course, she's the one that's abusing most of them. Another one has Hillary making a sad face, where her email is hillary@abovethelaw.com. And it's got her computer tower that says private email account for official government business. And she's answering a phone going, "What Benghazi emails? What foreign donor emails? What difference does it make?" And, personal email server. She's in a cobweb holding a sign that says Hillary 2016. And the caption is the World Wide Web of deceit that Hillary's been through. And, here she's on with Brian Williams, I think it is, on the news program. Just 2 old combat vets sharing their war stories with each other. And of course, Brian Williams' war stories were fake. And the last one was, here we go again, because now she's got a pile of boxes she's trying to get rid of that say foreign donors, cattle futures, Travelgate, Whitewater Files, Bimbo Eruptions, Benghazi. And it's got a dead guy with his feet sticking out of it all that says Vince Foster. And last but not least, Hillary and Bill are both sitting in chairs that say property of the White House. And they're sitting on stacks of money that say foreign cash, bimbo, donations, corporate cronies, all that stuff. And on the TV, they're watching a thing that says the New England Patriots, they cheated. And Bill goes, "Oh, is nothing sacred anymore?" So there it is. And last but not least, while Obama's pointing at a sign that says global warming alert. Remember, if you see something, say something for global warming. There's an ISIS terrorist that's holding up a global warming stretch of yellow tape while all these terrorists sneak under it. And the 90s 2-for-1 sale is back with a fresh new logo, and it's Bill in his underpants with Hillary with a shirt that says "I'm with Bubba." So there it is. And Ronald Reagan warned us all about this years ago. And so here's a clip. I know it's a little bit long. It's about 4 minutes or so, but it's just genius, and I need you to hear it. So hit it when you can. A 1, a 2, a 1, 2.
Now, one side in this campaign has been telling us that the issues of this election are the maintenance of peace and prosperity. The line has been used, "We've never had it so good."
I won't have to worry about putting gas in my car. I won't have to worry about paying my mortgage. If I help him, he's going to help me.
But I have an uncomfortable feeling that this prosperity isn't something on which we can base our hopes for the future.
The key point I'm making right now is that the economy is moving in a positive direction.
And yet our government continues to spend $17 million a day more than the government takes in.
You're telling me we got to go spend money to keep from going bankrupt? The answer, yes, I'm telling you.
We've raised our debt limit 3 times in the last 12 months. And now our national debt is 1.5 times bigger than all the combined debts of all the nations of the world.
We're going to raise the debt limit. We always have. We will do it again.
We have $15 billion in gold in our treasury. We don't own an ounce.
I have been informed that the majority plans to block consideration of this amendment, which is number 1367, regarding the transparency at the Federal Reserve.
Foreign dollar claims are $27.3 billion.
It said that China has now surpassed Japan as the U.S. government's largest creditor, owning at least 10% of all U.S. debt, perhaps as much as $700 billion.
And we've just had announced that the dollar of 1939 will now purchase 45 cents in its total value.
President Obama is expected to face tough questions over the U.S. decision to pump $600 billion freshly printed dollars into its economy. Now, the move is an attempt to revive the country's finances, but will result in a devaluation of the dollar.
We're at war with the most dangerous enemy that has ever faced mankind in his long climb from the swamp to the stars.
We've got to give them a stake in creating the kind of world order that I think all of us would like to see.
And it's been said if we lose that war, and in so doing lose this way of freedom of ours,
you'll construct a legal regime to make indefinite detention legal.
history will record with the greatest astonishment that those who had the most to lose did the least to prevent its happening. Well, I think it's time we ask ourselves if we still know the freedoms that were intended for us by the founding fathers.
For some trips, it'll be faster than flying without the pat down.
Anna was picked to go through. Pretty much everybody except the baby was picked to go through the scanner.
If we lose freedom here, there's no place to escape to. This is the last stand on earth.
Damn America, that's in the Bible.
Whether we believe in our capacity for self-government or whether we abandon the American Revolution and confess that a little intellectual elite in a far distant capital can plan our lives for us better than we can plan them ourselves.
I've got a core set of values that I think have to be advanced, and that my individual salvation depends on our collective salvation.
You and I are told increasingly we have to choose between a left or right. Well, I'd like to suggest there is no such thing as a left or right. There's only an up or down.
We had an election, and it was about a direction for our country.
And regardless of their sincerity, their humanitarian motives, those who would trade our freedom for security have embarked on this downward course. In this vote harvesting time, they use terms like the Great Society, or, as we were told a few days ago by the President, we must accept a greater government activity in the affairs of the people.
E pluribus unum, out of many, one. In the end, that's what this election is about.
Well, the trouble with our liberal friends is not that they're ignorant. It's just that they know so much that isn't so.
Over the course of 10 years, it would cost what it would cost us. All right. Okay. We're going to. It would cost us about the same as it would cost.
Is that it?
Yeah, that's it.
Okay, there you go. Well, dear Lord, I pray, if Jesus isn't returning anytime soon, could you please send back Ronald Reagan? So there it is. The more things change, the more things stay the same. That was a speech that was given by Ronald Reagan, I think, back in like 1967, with some clips of some things that are happening today, and you can see the prophetic nature of all of it, which is really sad. Okay, before we get to anything else, let's why don't you cue up some music, and we'll see about doing horoscopes. What do you say? So you just play the music whenever you can find it. The Sabian symbols for today are kind of fun. Let me take a look at it. The lunar symbol is the Sabian symbol for 2 degrees Libra, and it's very interesting. The light of the 6th race being transmitted to the 7th. So that's the current Sabian symbol for the moon that characterizes the ongoing lunar influence, the emotional background, or is just a symbol which characterizes this moment while the moon's position, rounded to the next degree, is 2 degrees Libra. And these are all the other stuff when it's okay. The sun's in Leo, moon's in Libra today. So if you're feeling a little charming and nice, Mercury's in Virgo, Venus in Leo, Mars in Leo, Jupiter in Virgo, Saturn in Scorpio. Venus is retrograde, by the way. Uranus in Aries, Neptune in Pisces in the dream state, and Pluto in Capricorn. And the Sabian symbol for the sun at the moment, a large camel crossing a vast and forbidding desert. That's for the sun, but then combine that with the light. Here's your horoscope for the week. And what am I announcing? Okay, one of these guys. Okay, so here we go. Just before I do the horoscopes here, please, once again, we're trying to obviously raise all the money for Hawkfest that we're doing. And a $35 donation or better, we will send you a one ounce bar of silver. So announce that. So you get a special treat, a special prize. So a 1 ounce bar of silver if you give us a $35 donation. So there you go. We've got it. We'd like to give it to you. So a special gift for all of our revolution-radio.com subscribers and listeners and family and friends. And we hope to see you all at Hawkfest at Hawk's house. Okay, Aries, here we go. The equivalent of the celestial cavalry is on its way. You made the request in the hope that it would be received, and it has been. So what are you expected to do now? Continue to watch a particular drama unfold in the belief you needn't do anything to help it, because that's what help you asked for will do. Actually, yes, you needn't intervene further and can choose to watch how assistance you need brings a result you will be very pleased with. Imagine what our world would be like if everyone understood any point made to them by someone else. Imagine having to explain ourselves only once. Is it not possible to have a meaningful and positive exchange without having to experience? Hey, I met Belinda Carlisle once. She kissed me on the face. No, she was very nice. She was very nice. She was actually, was at David Tickle's house, who was a big-time producer, and she was just kind of wandering around in the garden over by the pool. I'm like, hey, B, how you doing? And I told her a dumb joke. Hey, Steve.
Hey, Sean.
You know what, you know what kind of coffee Beyonce drinks?
Oh, God. No, Sean, what kind?
All the single lattes.
Waka.
All right. Go waka, waka, waka. Hey, Muppet Show's coming back, too. That's another cool thing. Muppet Show, now that we've had Miss Piggy and Kermit in ridiculous fake news, you've heard that they've broken up, of course. But the Muppet Show is actually coming back. It's going to be apparently a much more mature kind of adult sort of Muppet Show. So it's and by the way, HBO has now bought Sesame Street. So if you want your kids to watch Sesame Street and be propagandized into the diverse, multiracial, liberal, communist future, you're not going to have to pay HBO. It's not public. It's not public broadcasting anymore, apparently. PBS was set up so people, maybe without TV or without cable or whatever, could actually watch television. That's long gone. So HBO apparently is going to air Sesame Street originally, so you're going to have to pay the cable bill on it. And then
Sesame Street be exactly what the Disney Channel needs? And
I don't know, but it was bought by HBO. Well, one way or another, it was bought by HBO. And I'm not sure, well, actually, because Disney owns the Muppets, I would think because you have exclusively Muppet characters on PBS, that if they're transmitting it, that the Muppets would all go away. I mean, every single one, with the exception of Big Bird, I think they're all Muppets. So, anyway. All right, let's go. We read Aries. Okay, horoscope. Here we go. Tauruses. Many people need leaders. They need at least one person whom they can be inspired by. Some leaders are unaware of influence they hold. They go about their business unaware of how closely watched they are by those who wish they could do what those they're watching do so effectively and effortlessly. Are you aware of the example that you're setting in some way right now? Possibly not, but the cosmos insists that you are. So you'll soon be aware of how supported and admired you really are, Taurus. This week, hearts get pulled in various directions. Friends, family members, and those were committed all receive what appears to be a finite amount of love that we're able to give. Yet we know limits to which we're capable of showing love, compassion, and sensitivity are endless, and also no limits that exist are those we place upon ourselves. The coming week requires you to find a better and more balanced distribution of love where your closest and most meaningful connections are concerned. Gemini, do we always need a reason to do anything in life? Are there not times when we should simply make an effort or a gesture without it being supported by a carefully considered reason for doing so? It is often helpful to know that anything we do has at least two benefits attached to doing it. But it's possible you might be encouraged now to take action in some way that doesn't appear to offer much to you in return. You can, however, be certain that you will be looked after for making the effort or gesture that you're considering making now. Now, for the week of August 14th, if a need to reassess a relationship-based belief or attitude presents itself, then believe it's because the cosmos has plans to guide you towards a new destination of some kind, personally, romantically, or emotionally. A change of heart or change of opinion or attitude can come as a result of information coming your way that could be a game changer. What comes to light shortly will play a big part in helping to make a decision you know has been long overdue. Cancer, all you moon children out there, when you're not tackling every problem from the side, even when we encounter a one step forward, three steps back scenario, which cancers do so well, we're making progress, albeit slowly. Yet, is there not something we can do to eliminate the need to take annoying steps backwards? If we're looking backward in any way, then it's because we're focused on our past. The sky implies the biggest obstacle to your progress lies with your desire to cling to an aspect of your past now. Release it, and the only steps you take will be forward ones. Now, for this week, when we experience delays, moon children, when traveling, we know they tend to be for reasons beyond our control. We know, as well, anyone responsible for solving the problem usually wants it resolved as quickly as we do, but that still does little to curb our impatience. We want what we want now, not later, or when someone else decides time is right to receive it. The cosmos has sorted a delay to an important plan that occurred for a very good reason, as this week you are about to discover. All right, you Leos with your giant hair, you little lions, you just all need to be rubbed on the belly so you can just purr away. Innocence can allay concerns that we have about making mistakes. After all, if we didn't know any better, how can we chastise ourselves for making mistakes? Yet mistakes are previous transgressions, yet still close to do whatever caused it a second time. You're wise and experienced enough to know better in some way now. You have no excuses should you make a mistake a second time. Now, for this week, imagine sitting next to a pilot who asks you to take the controls while they went and did something else. The fact that they believe that they could ask such a thing says much about their confidence in you and how easy it is to fly the aircraft. You would have every reason to feel naturally daunted, if not terrified, by such a request. But what if you were surprised by your ability to cope? The coming week brings a chance to cope admirably in an area of your world where you once feared failure. Virgo, all you lovely virgins, a sense of déjà vu might be evident regarding a situation you prefer to not have to deal with. You didn't feel inspired to resolve it previously, and the idea of having to give it necessary attention again doesn't have you punching the air with joy. Yet you can sense there is something different about it. Is it lacking an element of fear that caused you to form strong opinions previously? The sky insists that is very much the case, and you're in a stronger position now. Now, for this week, soon it might be necessary to assess expectations that you're setting in a certain way. Are they too high? Are they too low? Might it be you who's got the wrong end of the stick and everyone else is right, or might it be the other way around? In any case, coming developments will help confirm how realistic you're being in terms of what you expect from certain others. Proof that you're being fair and reasonable will replace confusion in surrounding a current belief you're being neither. The greatest sign of the zodiac, but also the only machine in the zodiac, the only thing that's actually not organic or an animal or a person or a virgin or whatever, is the balancing impartial scales of the mighty Libra. You might be understandably reluctant to let go of what needs letting go of now. It has become very, very familiar to you and provided a sense of comfort. Yet, because something in an area of your world has moved to a new level, it is becoming necessary to have this aspect of your past behind, or at least give it less prominence than it has enjoyed until now. This will all be much easier if you focus on what you're gaining through doing so, rather than what you believe you're losing. Now, for this week for you Libras, one of many things said about nature is it apparently abhors a vacuum. In other words, if a space gets made available, nature will find a way to fill it with what it deems appropriate. This is all well and fine, provided we're in agreement with nature's choice, and it can sometimes take time before we see the logic or even the appropriateness in this. The coming week could make you aware of what needs releasing Have absolute faith in this being part of a much grander cosmic plan. Yay. Well, I knew something great was happening. All right, you lovely Scorpions. Once again, you can be the gray lizard, the scorpion, or the eagle, but actually as of 2003, really, you're all considered phoenixes. So my little scorpion phoenixes, if we need something spelled out for us in a way that leaves no room for misinterpretation or misunderstanding, then the cosmos will do so if it believes to be necessary. Usually, we're given more subtle clues to help us to understand what we need to understand or do. We're also given choices to help us focus on right courses of action. Confusion you might be experiencing in some way will be short-lived once a necessary course of action becomes clearer very soon. Now, for this week, my phoenixes, there are some things in life that we discover only a dab will do. Where we think we need an excessive amount of something, we find just a little bit of it goes a surprisingly long way. That definitely applies to the investments of faith. There are times when we believe the amount we're expected to summon far exceeds what we're capable of summoning. The coming week could well bring proof that a tiny bit of faith can truly go a long way and bring a very, very surprising result. Sagittarius. Hope your thighs are okay. Yeah, go ride your bicycle. Do some dancing. We often, all you archers, all you centaurs out there, you're half man, half horse. We often regard obstacles as unhelpful or cruel distractions to cherished plans. We see no reason for them to exist and invest faith in the fact that if something is as important to us as we believe it to be, then it will be supported, not hampered by a caring cosmos. It's important you see how helpful what you perceive to be certain unhelpful obstacles really are. You're being encouraged to consider what you hadn't considered, and that can only be helpful. Jupiter's recently entered Virgo after a year-long stay in Leo. Jupiter is the biggest planet in our solar system. It doesn't glide, it grinds. That's why it usually takes time to benefit from its influence in a new sign and new surroundings. Interestingly, it appears keen to get to work, and the coming week should bring evidence of how appreciated and respected you are by certain people. Proof of how integral to certain plans you are is coming. So you're just about ready to take a bow. Capricorn, you little goats who couldn't decide whether or not you wanted to be a fish or a goat, which is why Zeus put you in the sky because he thought it was funny. What's changing and possibly in more than one area of your world might be seen by you as unnerving. Certain situations and scenarios that have ticked along in much the same way appear to be offering more in the way of potential or hope than you thought they would ever, but this is giving you reason to revisit and understand them in ways that you haven't had to in some time. The sky speaks of revival, Capricorn, right now. So this shouldn't be seen as unhelpful or untimely. See it as magical. For this week, a theme surrounding unresolved issues kicks off the coming week, and every Capricorn will have their own story to tell. Old flames or old debts will appear on the radar and demand attention. What you might have thought had reached a level of stability or predictability could prove otherwise and cause one or two plans to head off briefly on tangents. The end result will be a feeling of relief through finally resolving what has been lurking unresolved in the background for some time. Aquarius, woo! Go put on your Dayglow shirt and your flamingos and your Grateful Dead Jerry Garcia tie. We eventually learn nothing in life is perfect, Aquarians. We even learn to appreciate the beauty of imperfections and how our keenness for something to be perfect doesn't help or justify it being so. In an area of your world, there is much to be enjoyed and appreciated for its imperfection. That at least offers scope for you to appreciate effort you believe necessary to improve. It is unnecessary. It's time to appreciate what you have and cease yearning for how you'd like it to be. Now, for this week, Aquarians, even the most resilient and patient person has limits to how long they'll continue to invest effort and faith in a development. When we see no evidence of what we're trying to make happen manifesting, we alter our strategy or move on. Try again, then give up. No use being a big fool about it. Now, there are times when a result takes a surprisingly long time to appear, and when it does, we become unsure about how to deal with it. The coming week could prove effort and patience given toward an area of your world have not been in vain. And last but certainly not least, you very, very patient Pisceans, you Pisceans, you Pescadarians, it's likely that you're able to predict the outcome to a particular drama or area of tension in your uncertainty. But what outcome do you want to see? You might be of the opinion much is out of your hands or beyond your control, yet something within you needs to continue to inspire and push you in ways that might even surprise you. There you have proof, if it is needed, of your ability to bring a result in a way you want and need to see it. All you need to do is continue to have faith. So this week, my Pisces, and I love you Pisces people, you're so adorable. And once again, remember you've got Neptune, which is the planet that rules your sign in Pisces, so your dreams and psychic abilities should be supremely advanced right now. As gas gets turned up in a particular scenario, heat and tension increase as well. You can be certain whatever is escalating between you and a certain person is part of a bigger plan than what might appear, but it's here and now that you're likely concerned about and what the escalation of tension is in aid of. An area of your world, and particularly your relationship with someone in it, are being strengthened. A new, helpful, and positive level of understanding is about to be reached. And ladies and gentlemen, those are your horoscopes for today.
That's your horoscope for today. Yeah, 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 yeah. That's your horoscope for today.
There you go. So, all right, what else we have here? Come on, I know it's here somewhere. All right. Well, I had a bunch of stuff here for you. Let's take a look at what's the next story is. Oh, my goodness. Do I not have anything to talk about? No, I have all kinds of stuff to talk about. Stand by. I just pulled a bunch of stuff down. Saving symbol. Oh, okay. Well, all right. Huh. All right, let's go to some serious stuff then. Here we go. Well, this is kind of interesting news. China's currency move is going to help them join the IMF's elite Forex club. Oh, great. You know, another way we're going to rip off the Chinese. Washington Reuters, China's move to revamp its currency regime this week may help the Chinese yuan or yuan, however you want to say it. It's more like yuan. Earn a place. They just have money that sounds ugly. If they changed it to the Happy Santa pizza pussy or something, I think they would be. I think people would want to trade it more. They want the yuan to earn a place in the small group of currencies that the International Monetary Fund uses as a global benchmark, despite concerns the policy change could bring a round of competitive devaluations. Once again, this is all geared towards the middle of September. If Beijing described its surprise devaluation of the yuan's value Tuesday as a one-off step to make the currency more responsive to market forces. But some critics say, in other words, being manipulated, actually. But critics say it saw it as thinly veiled effort to make China's exports more competitive and boost economic growth. Now, if Beijing's word holds true, the IMF and other financial officials say the move could burnish China's campaign to join the IMF's currency basket, known as what they call special drawing rights, or SDRs, which can be used to supplement member countries' official reserves. It's a distinction long sought by Beijing, both to encourage use of the yuan for trade and investment and as diplomatic recognition of China's growing role in the world economy. Finance officials, including officials in the United States Treasury, believe it is a little too early to say whether the devaluation is a move to move currency flexibility or an effort to gain a trade edge. There are also worries that Chinese officials may see more weaknesses in their economy than they have disclosed and are using the devaluation to try to get ahead of what they see as upcoming problems. In late-night statements on Tuesday, the IMF welcomed China's move and said it appeared to be part of reforms to let market forces play a bigger role, something the fund and the United States have long pushed China to do. We believe that China can and should aim to achieve an effectively floating exchange rate system within 2 to 3 years, it said. A more market-determined exchange rate would facilitate SDR operations in case the renminbi were included in the currency basket going forward. Renminbi, R-E-N-M-I-N, renminbi. Anyway, joining the currency basket would put the yuan alongside the U.S. dollar, British pound, euro, and Japanese yen. It would be the first emerging market currency to be in the SDR market, marking another stage in China's rise as a global superpower. So, anyway, the yuan's already the world's 5th most used trade currency, but because it's not considered freely traded and China's capital markets are largely closed, it is not qualified under the IMF's SDR criteria. Actually, we're going to see her. She's opening. We're at the Hollywood Bowl, I think. Anyway, yeah, so we're going to see Joan Jett and the Blackhearts. Who's she opening for? B-52s, I think? B-52s, yeah. It's going to be like Psychedelic Furs, Joan Jett, and the B-52s at the Hollywood Bowl. So that's going to be the closing night at the Hollywood Bowl, I think. One way or another, we're going to see her. I'm not sure from where, but we will. Okay, now we haven't heard from Saoirse Fall in a while. Of course, you know Saoirse Fall. So, again, this is not the God honest truth. I don't know. It could be a guy named Dave Bloom. It's supposedly, according to the website, it's a group of Irish nuns called the Sisters of Saoirse Fall, who somehow suddenly became friends with Russian spies of the FSB. And FSB, I don't know what it stands for, Bureau. It's basically what the KGB used to be. The KGB is our version of the FBI, except their FSB is apparently not as bad as our FBI is. So, anyway, Saoirse Fall has a new report that's kind of outrageous and sort of on the interesting side. They're fun to read, obviously, because she puts a lot of really interesting facts together and then makes a series of somewhat outrageous conclusions. And who knows, it could all be true. Whatever. Anyway, Saoirse Fall has reported to her Western subscribers, Obama orders Hillary Clinton arrested if Donald Trump is assassinated. Now, the Clintons and the Obamas have not been getting along very well. Probably because Michelle's a man, and that's not how Hillary swings, I guess. And Bill doesn't like her because, again, she's a man, and that's not how Bill swings either. So there's been some infighting. I mean, bottom line is the Clintons, after everything that Hillary did, by the way, Hillary made Barack Obama president of the United States. There's no doubt about it. Hillary backed off on the entire thing. Hillary ran around the convention. And if you saw any of the clips of this, and they're all over YouTube, by the way, she would have won the votes at the convention to become the president. Now, could she have beaten John McCain? I don't know. Insane in the membrane McCain and Sarah Palin, who is basically just a pile of monkeys that they put a trench coat and a wig on. I'm convinced. So they had a meeting in the White House, I think, a year ago, and said, "Look, I did everything for you. I gave up my campaign. There was a point where she's toe to toe in her fat little pantsuit, looking up at this guy who's the head of the delegates for New York, where they were going to give all of her delegates from New York, which could have possibly put her over the top for the nomination. And she stopped him. Got a big fight with the guy saying, nope, that's not what you're going to do. You're going to give the fight to this. And by the way, there was no final vote. In 2008, there's no final vote at the Democratic Convention. It was Hillary who came up and said, well, I think we've all decided it's going to be Barack Obama, and there's no reason to vote, and I would, Mr. Chairman, Mr. Speaker, I would like to stop the count. Remember that little moment in American history? So the first birthers, hey, this guy's not even an American that came up was from the Clintons, was from Bill and Hillary. I know this for a fact. A former manager of mine who was former vice president of DreamWorks Pictures, Bettina Viviano, was a big Hillary supporter, and she talked about how she was threatened by the Obama gang because Hillary and Bill were putting all this out. Now, I've told you what went on really behind the scenes. what did happen behind the scenes is that Hill and Billy, I think it's so funny they're from Arkansas and they're named Hill and Billy. Does anybody else not think that's funny? So they're all called into the big Bilderberg meeting. The Bilderbergers all get together and they meet in Chantilly, Virginia, which is a hop, skip, and a very gay jump from Washington, D.C. And they all met behind closed doors. And the big report, and this was Jim Tucker who came out with this, big report was there was a huge fight in the background. There was a fight between and this is how I divide things up. Look, this is very simplistic. This is not a complex political analysis of this. But you now have two camps amongst the Bilderbergers. You have a main steering committee that sits at the main table that many people have said is called the Incunabula. And I know it sounds like Mooney Mula, it sounds like something funny, but Incunabula is a Latin term which means basically nest of vipers, which is what Jesus called his enemies. He said, "Thou whited sepulchre, thou nest of vipers." And actually, if you get deeper into the Koine Greek, it means actually a clutch of viper eggs. So it's sort of like snake babies, if you will, who are far more deadly than the adults. Because when they hatch, they just go and bite everything and chew everything up. So there was a huge argument that broke out between the Rothschild clan on the one side, of which Barack Obama and George Soros were part and parcel. And by the way, George Soros cut a check for $80 million out of his own pocket to make Barack Obama president. George Soros was all for Barack Obama. George Soros was the one that had funded Air America, which was that dumb liberal talk show network that lasted. He pulled $6 million out of his own pocket, which is lunch for George Soros, and completely financed Air America. It was the stupidest thing ever, because you can't get up on the radio where you're actually responsible for the public. In other words, where the public can touch you, can reach out and touch you and talk to you on the phone. Like here, although, good luck. We have people call all the time. It's just that the challenge being is that, once again, it's kind of my show, and I don't know if I'm more entertaining than the callers or not, but it's the same attitude with guests. Do we talk to a guest for an hour and just talk about one agenda, or do we bounce around and have some fun? So the challenge has been, long story short, the Rothschilds on the one side said, look, we want to offer health care. We want to give the sheep a blanket and a pillow. They'll be easier to enslave if we give them a European sort of socialist model. More money, less work, maybe not as fun as France. But one way or another, basically the Rothschilds are saying, look, if we take care of the sheep will serve us longer. They're still sheep. But if we just take care of them and give them vaccinations and give them some free health care, basically we're going to build them a cage, but we're going to put in a blanket and a pillow. Then you have the Rockefeller gang. The Rockefeller gang, of course, which is Hillary and Bill. And Bill is a Rockefeller. Bill is of that bloodline. Bill's mother, Virginia Kelly, was one of 38, allegedly, I have to say, illegitimate children of Winthrop Rockefeller, who's former governor of Arkansas. So that then makes Billy the grandson of Winthrop Rockefeller. And look, I heard this from a guy named Ben Talbot, who was Clinton's first cousin. And the guy used to come and visit me, and he's the spitting image of Bill Clinton. People thought that Bill Clinton was sitting on my couch. So the Rockefellers were like, look, we don't care about the sheep. We'll just kill all the sheep, and we'll just make more sheep, and it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what the sheep think. We'll just we'll line them up and put them in the white stripes to the red stripes to the slaughter on the American flag, because that's what it is. It's the white stripes of the sheep going in, and the red stripes is the blood coming out the other side. So that was the big debate between Hillary and Bill, saying, how are you going to get around the fact that this guy wasn't born in the United States? And they were like, the six guys who control the media said, that's not a problem. We're going to fool the American people. We do it all the time. And by the way, once you own the Supreme Court, who cares? And what's the first thing that Obama did? He stacked the Supreme Court. He put Sonia sounds like a Mexican, and Elena, I'm really a big shaved Bigfoot Kagan. Every time I see her on the TV, she looks like she just spit a fish out of her mouth. Rooney Google. She's just shaved Bigfoot. Also possibly the most ignorant woman I've ever seen, ever. I watched her confirmation hearings, and I just expected her to jam her entire fist up her nose and go, I don't know. So here it is. So there's a big meeting at the White House, and this is about a year ago, where they're like, well, you're going to help us with Hillary's campaign, right? And Obama's like, not so much. And Hillary, like she does, almost picked up an ashtray and hit him in the back of the head, like Vince Foster. I'm surprised the president didn't come out of the White House rolled up in a carpet. So she got really mad. And Obama was, what Obama wants is that he thought that he was going to get an Obama mini-me at some point. He thought he was going to get somebody out there that was like him, big ears, flat head, whatever, gay, coked up, smokes a lot of pot, whatever. But he wanted like an Obama mini-me. And I'm sort of surprised that he hasn't supported Biden or supported somebody else. Because look, Hillary is so weak. Nobody is showing up to see this bitch. Nobody. Bernie Sanders is tearing it up. Bernie Sanders, who might as well be Karl Marx. Bernie Sanders is getting up there. He's got 10,000 people. He's selling out stadiums on the other side. I don't think he ever combs his hair. He does look like he got his penis caught in a light socket and and his hair just went out. Marty, we've got to get back to the future. But he's just ranking it up with the whole socialist thing. Now, the challenge with Bernie Sanders is, once again, he's a communist. I mean, he's a Marxist, Leninist, 10 planks. He's a communist. And he gets up there, but the challenge is he talks about the big corporations and how bad they are and government and all that. But you will always notice that, and Ronald Reagan said something brilliant in the speech. He says, not a matter of left or right. It's a matter of up or down. It's a matter of who is going to uplift you, who is going to take you to the next level, who is going to teach you, who's going to help you ascend, and who's going to shove you down by putting, once again, another government agency in charge of you, or having cops tell you what to do, or whatever else. The expansion of the totalitarian economic, military, industrial complex. So who are going to be the uppers and who are going to be the downers? Bernie Sanders is out there riling people up about, the corporations and all that. But his solution is more government. It always is. It's like, this is bad, that's bad, let's have a government. So let's get more government that the corporations actually control anyway, and they'll fix the problem. And that's the other weird thing that I always saw. The further right on the spectrum you go and the further left on the spectrum you go, they do bend in the middle. And it comes all the way into a big horseshoe, if you will, till they meet. I mean, on the right, multinational corporations are bad. On the left, multinational corporations are bad. But in the case of, the philosophy of Reagan, if you will, which is less government, more personal responsibility, and with God's help, a better world. I mean, that was his motto in 1980. Now, did he live up to it? Nope. After they killed him, I think he was a little bit brain dead, and then just Bush and Cheney took over, and it became sort of business as usual. But he did engineer the collapse of the Soviet Union. He did engineer the collapse of the Berlin Wall. Of course, then George Bush was there. He did everything in his power to try to stop it. Everything in his power to try to stop the Soviet Union from collapsing, because the Soviet Union was a going Rockefeller concern. The Soviet Union was a front corporation for the Rockefellers. Bottom line. And if you think I'm kidding, when the Soviet Union went bankrupt, guess who was there writing all the chits as the executive of the bankruptcy? Was David Rockefeller from his big giant castle in St. Petersburg. Okay, so this is the background of the Social Fall article. It might not be true at all, but I'm just telling you there's stuff going on behind the scenes that even though Hillary took her lumps, even though the Bilderbergers said to her, not your day, with what we have planned to do to the country, we need this black guy. We need a black empty suit to get away with stuff so we can play into white guilt, so we can divide people, so that we can create the riots that we need to create, so that we can crack down. And Barack Obama has, like a good little lapdog meat suit puppet, done everything that they wanted him to do. And don't think for a minute that Barack Obama's done anything for the people. If you're black and you like Barack Obama, oh my God, why? Why? Your jobs are gone because of him. Mexicans are taking your jobs because of him. He has done nothing for the black man. Nothing. And the corporations love him. Mitt Romney's doing better now under Barack Obama as far as all the coddling of the corporations go than he would have done if he were president. So that's just my own political diatribe. So here is Sorsha. Sorsha says, an interesting report contained within the daily communique between the Federation Embassy, that's the Russians, in Washington, D.C., and the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, or MOFA, states that President Barack Obama has now issued a stark threat to the Clinton political machine that should New York billionaire Donald Trump be assassinated or harmed in any way, Hillary Clinton will face immediate arrest. Now, again, the chances that, what a dream world that would be, huh? She wouldn't have to change her clothes. I think they dress you in that same little pantsuit that she wears all the time in prison. just in a brighter orange. According to this report, President Obama issued this threat personally to former President Bill Clinton this past Friday, 14 August, after he summoned the former U.S. leader to meet him at the Farm Neck Golf Club in Oak Bluffs, Massachusetts. I don't know about summoned, by the way. I mean, Obama has played more golf than Tiger Woods. Obama has had, I don't know, like 200 days or something where he's just done nothing but play golf. That's all he does. This report notes that U.S. propaganda media representatives of this sudden meeting, media representations, I'm sorry, of this sudden meeting between Obama and Clinton called it a surprise meeting, but which Federation intelligence analysts contributing to this report label as absurd, as the Secret Service, which protects both of them, know these leaders' exact location and schedule every second of every day, making such a surprise meeting impossible. Fueling President Obama's concern that the Clintons may be planning to kill Trump are the over 90 suspicious deaths of their political enemies linked to them over the past 30 years, as well as new polling showing that should this New York billionaire continue his campaign to become the next American president, he would very likely handily defeat Hillary Clinton. Hang on, Sorsha. Only 90? I did a newsletter years ago where I think I listed that many. It's, you can point your finger almost directly on probably upwards of about 350 people, all with links to the Clintons, all who owed them money, all who had some dirt on them, all who got in their way, who woke up dead. Even people in the media started calling it Arkansas suicide. How did he die? Oh, he killed himself by hitting himself over the head 100 times with a baseball bat. One of the most important deaths linked to the Clintons that has so angered President Obama, this report explains, was the July 16, 1999 assassination of John F. Kennedy, who at the time of his death was planning to run for the New York Senate seat that Hillary ultimately won due to her having no further legitimate opposition. President Obama's intimate knowledge of the Clintons' assassination of John F. Kennedy Jr., this report explains, had been related to him by Carolyn Kennedy Schlossberg, John F. Kennedy Jr.'s sister, and Obama's present ambassador to Japan, who was present at the Supreme Court hearing that illegally gave the 2000 U.S. presidential election to George W. Bush and had witnessed for herself how then President Bill Clinton and his wife Hillary had secretly met with justices just prior to their ruling. Note that Gore's promise to Carolyn that should he become president, he would reopen the investigation into both her brother and her father's death. Sorsha says that they covered in a previous 2000 report. Equally concerning to President Obama that the Clintons are planning to assassinate Trump, this report says, is Hillary's growing closeness to the Fox News Channel's owner, Rupert Murdoch, whose companies have now become the 9th largest donators of money to Hillary as she seeks the presidency. What? Rupert Murdoch, head of Fox News? Huh. Well, if Hillary becomes president, you can bet your bottom dollar, dollars versus donuts, that Fox News would just go crazy. Talk about a ratings bulge. And with Fox News having failed in their effort to dethrone Donald Trump and smear and slander him from his commanding lead in the polls, this report warns, his assassination by the Clintons may be the only way to stop him. And once again, this is Fox News going after Trump, mind you. Fox News, like Megyn Kelly asking him those ridiculous questions. Again, and you've called women fat pigs. You deflect that by saying, I've called a woman a fat pig. I've called some women bad names because they deserved it. That doesn't mean I call all women those names. How easy is that to deflect? Hey, how about I do beauty pageants? I do scholarships. My wife Ivanka does this. I've got more executives in my companies. I've got more female executives in my companies than anybody. They make more money than my other executives. Donald Trump is not anti-woman, believe me. He's pro-hot girl. Aren't we all? But certainly not anti-woman. That's something you really can't. Doesn't everybody hate Rosie O'Donnell? She really is. I mean, Rosie O'Donnell is really an obnoxious fat lesbian pig. I've said it. Okay, now I'll say it. Sean, you call women those names? No, I called Rosie O'Donnell that name. And every woman I would talk to would go, yeah, okay, I'd go with that. As to how President Obama will be able to arrest Hillary Clinton should Trump be harmed, this report further explains, revolves around her personal email servers that she illegally used while she was Secretary of State and which are now in the possession of the FBI. Woo-hoo. Cybersecurity analysts contributing to this report state that Hillary's secret servers were provided to her by Platte River Networks, whose vice president, David D. Camillus, was criminally linked to the vast Ponzi scheme empire run by Lou Pearlman, who is currently serving 25 years in prison for stealing over $300 million. Now, unbeknownst to Hillary Clinton about Platte River Networks, though, these cybersecurity analysts state was that this company was partnered with the U.S. telecom giant AT&T, and whom the New York Times revealed today, based on Edward Snowden documents, had been in a secret partnership with the National Security Agency, where the NSA was providing to them billions of emails from all of their servers. The plot thickens. Significantly about Platte River Networks' use of AT&T to transmit their emails through, this report says, is that from day one, all of the emails Hillary Clinton sent and received are now in the possession of the National Security Agency. We cover the earth. Important to note, this report further states, is that under U.S. law, any and all letters, emails, journals, etc., written by Hillary Clinton as Secretary of State are classified, and which former U.S. Army General David Petraeus belatedly discovered earlier this year after he was convicted for allowing his mistress biographer to read his private journals. Oops. Don't you hate when your naked mistress goes through all your emails? Even more concerning to Hillary Clinton, should President Obama seek to arrest her, is the case involving the highly decorated U.S. Marine Major Jason Bresler, who, in a frantic effort to save the lives of his men, inadvertently sent a classified email to them using, like Hillary Clinton, a private server, and is now facing decades in prison for doing so. With Hillary Clinton still acting like she is above the law, stating such things that she loves Snapchat because, quote, those messages disappear all by themselves, unquote. And one of her own released emails proving she was reading a book on how to delete them all, this report concludes. Her ignoring of President Obama's threat to arrest her is being done at her own peril, especially when viewed in the light of Secret Service ordering the immediate hiring of 1,100 more agents to protect not only Donald Trump, but any other, quote, political obstacle, unquote, that may get in Hillary's way, like Bernie Sanders, maybe. And it's funny, this comes with a funny cartoon because it's got a Wizard of Oz, a giant head of Hillary, and she's got a crown on that says HRC, her initials, and it's a Wizard of Oz head, and she's in the little control room with her fat butt and her little blue pantsuit. Pay no attention to those emails and foreign contributions. The great and inevitable Hillary has spoken. I'm curious. Well, let me read the rest of this. That was it. But it's amazing that the media, I guess, just assumes that how stupid the American people are. Well, should we just assume that? Let me also say that I was one of the first people to get up on ABC News. I was actually on ABC News, like Nighttime Philadelphia, where I was the one that said, Hillary Clinton is behind this. Hillary Clinton is behind the death of JFK Jr. And they're like, what proof do you have? What proof do you have? And he said, how about the hundreds of other people that have gotten in her way that have woken up dead? How about the fact that you have I started just rattling this whole thing off about, there's very few people that know more about this than I do. Because I actually I worked on a hard copy piece on this, which got killed. But JFK Jr. had lunch the same day that he died with Hillary Clinton. JFK Jr. was warned by Hillary Clinton to stay out of the race. JFK Jr. was the one who said to Hillary, you're a carpetbagger. I don't like you. I don't think you're good for New York. You're not from here. And I'm going to use my own money to run for Senate. And I'm going to get elected. And she was like, I'm warning you. You better stay out of my way. And whatever happened at that meeting, there was all kinds of press around it, by the way. Look it up. I think it's on YouTube somewhere. But he comes out of that meeting white as a ghost. As a sheet. terrified. I mean, it looked to me like he was scared for his life. And he's coming out going, no comment, no comment, no comment. What'd you and Hillary talk about? What'd you and Hillary talk about? Nothing, no comment, no comment. Gets in the limo, drives away. Hillary comes out. You know, she's got that face. You know, the face like she's got two canaries in each of her cheeks, and she's got her head up, and, you know, because she's just this weird little fat girl. And she's like, she's got that canary eating face. And they said, what did you and John talk about? And she said, and once again, with that I just have canaries in my cheeks face. She goes, well, you know, sort of munching it. I told him not to enter politics. I warned him that she gave the exact same warning that his mother Jackie had given him so many years before, saying not to enter politics. So, all right, so there you go. That's a good way to wrap up Strange Universe for this wild, crazy, wacky Monday. Once again, please contribute to the station. We need your help. And anybody that donates $35 will give a little bar of silver, an ounce of silver. And also, please donate to the station for Hawkfest. I don't know if anybody wants to buy me a ticket to get there. It's like $600, and I'm not sure I can really afford it. But there it is. Also, Sands of Time Part 2. Sands of Time Part 2. We have it now. Order it. Go on Amazon.